Welcome to The Explainer. As a leader, you make countless decisions, but there's one that often gets overlooked, and it can literally make or break your biggest projects. Today, we're unpacking project management methodologies, the frameworks that determine how your team succeeds. So in the next few minutes, we're going to cover why this is such a huge deal, break down the two main ways of thinking, look at how you can craft your own custom fit, and nail down your crucial role in making it all work. All right, let's get right into it. First things first, we've got to understand the stakes here. And believe me, they are high. This isn't just about ticking off tasks or hitting deadlines. No, this is about whether your company's most critical initiatives actually succeed, or if they just fizzle out. It's a question that I'm sure has kept every single executive up at night, right? You greenlight a project, the business case is solid, everything looks good, but then somewhere down the road, it just goes off the rails. Well, the data actually gives us a pretty stark answer. Get this, a staggering 2/3 of projects fail when there's no formal methodology in place. 67%. Think about that. That is a massive drain on resources, on time, on your competitive edge. It's why this decision isn't just some operational detail for the project managers. It is a core strategic choice you have to make. You know, when you pick the right framework, it directly addresses the very things that are probably on your mind right now. We're talking about accelerating your time to market, maximizing your ROI, and crucially, giving you the ability to pivot when the market shifts. It's basically your command center for control and real-time visibility. Okay, so when you look at all of the different methodologies out there, you'll find that pretty much every single one of them traces back to one of two, competing philosophies. And getting a handle on this fundamental difference is the key to everything. And that brings us to the big showdown: predictability versus adaptability. On one side, you have the traditional sequential world of project management, and on the other, the modern iterative approach. It's really a choice between building a fortress where everything is planned and solid, or captaining a speedboat built for speed and quick turns. So first up, the classic waterfall. And the skyscraper analogy is perfect for this. You have a detailed, fixed blueprint from day one. Every single phase, from digging the foundation to putting on the roof, has to be 100% complete before the next one can even start. It is all about planning everything right up front. And honestly, that rigid, step-by-step structure is its biggest strength. It gives you those clear, predictable milestones and that budget certainty that, let's be honest, looks great in a boardroom presentation, especially when the project scope is locked in. And you see its power in action in these huge, high-stakes projects. For a massive casino build, right, with totally locked-in requirements and a grand opening date that could not move, that waterfall discipline was the only thing that kept them on time and on budget. In that world, predictability was king. Now, let's flip the coin completely. We have Agile. If waterfall is that skyscraper, Agile is like building a series of fast-evolving prototypes. It's designed for situations where you don't have all the answers from the start. It actually thrives on uncertainty and is built from the ground up for speed and reacting to the market. What's really different about Agile is its core principles. They totally flip the script. It's all about working hand in hand with the customer, not just negotiating a contract. It's about responding to change, not just sticking to a rigid plan. And it's focused on delivering real working stuff in small pieces, not waiting for some big bang launch at the very end. And you can see just how powerful this is at a huge scale. I mean, tech giants like Salesforce use Scrum, which is a really popular Agile framework, to keep literally thousands of developers all moving in the same direction, but at an incredible speed. It allows them to innovate constantly and pivot on a dime. Okay, so here's maybe the most important takeaway. For most companies today, it's not a simple this or that choice. The smartest leaders, they don't just pick one team. They actually build their own custom approach by pulling from a whole toolbox of different methods. In fact, the data shows that more than 40% of big companies are now using these hybrid models. It makes sense, right? You borrow the best parts of each philosophy, maybe the rock-solid planning from Waterfall and the get-it-done flexibility from Agile, to create something that perfectly fits what you're trying to do. And inside this toolbox, you've got all these specialized tools for different jobs. You might use Scrum when you're building a brand new, complex product.
You could use Kanban to just get a clear visual handle on your team's workflow. Or you might go with something like Lean to slash waste and boost efficiency. For those super high-risk, heavily regulated projects, there's even a framework called Prince2 that's all about governance and control.
Which brings us to our final and maybe most critical section, your role in all of this. How do you actually pick the right framework and then make sure it sticks? Well, picking the right one really starts by asking yourself a few key questions. Think of it as a checklist. How likely are things to change? Is speed the number one thing you care about? Are there heavy regulations we have to follow? And a big one people forget, what's our team culture actually like? Does it thrive on autonomy, or does it need more of a top-down structure? So here's a simple 3-step way to think about it. First, define the main business outcome. What's priority number 1? Speed, predictability, or quality? Second, match the method to the situation. The risk, the uncertainty, the culture we just talked about. And third, and this is so important, don't try to boil the ocean. Pilot the approach on a smaller scale, measure how it goes, and then iterate. But at the end of the day, here is the single most important thing to remember. All the research points to this. The most critical factor for success isn't the specific method you pick. It's your personal, visible, and unwavering commitment as a leader to seeing it through.
So, as we wrap this up, just remember, this decision is about so much more than Gantt charts and deadlines. Choosing the right methodology literally transforms how your organization creates value, how it responds to a changing world, and ultimately, how it achieves its biggest, most ambitious goals.
It really defines your company's ability to compete and to win. So that leaves you with one final question to think about. Right now, is your methodology your greatest strategic asset, or is it your biggest hidden liability?